Hi JavaScript, welcome back. We can discuss ES 2017 features.
Hi, true, false. Let's discuss.
Can you explain string.prototype.padStart?
It pads this string with another string multiple times if needed until the resulting string reaches the given length. The padding is applied from the start of the string. It takes two parameters, target length, the length of the resulting string once the current string has been padded, and pad string, the string to pad the current string with. The default value is space character. Here, only the last four digits of the card numbers are shown and the numbers are replaced by star character. It can be used to pad 0 at the start for time and date formatting.
What happens when this string length is greater than target length?
Then the string is returned as is. Here the same string is returned.
What happens if the pad string is too long to stay within the target length?
Then the pad string is truncated from the end. Here the pad string is truncated at the end.
Can you explain string.prototype.padEnd?
It pads this string with a given string repeated if needed so that the resulting string reaches a given length. The padding is applied from the end of the string. It takes two parameters, target length and pad string, similar to string.prototype.padStart. Here, the labels at the left hand side are padded with space characters at the end.
Can you explain Object.entries static method?
It returns an array of given objects' own enumerable string key property key value pairs. Here, the object properties are iterated and its key value pairs are printed.
What happens when I pass a string?
Strings have character indexes as enumerable properties. Here, each character with its index is iterated.
What happens if I pass a primitive value?
The boxed variant of that primitive value is used. All primitive values except undefined and null when passed to this method, an empty array is returned as they do not have their own properties. Here, an empty array is returned for primitive values.
What happens if I pass null or undefined?
Type error is thrown. Here, type error is thrown for undefined and null value.
The value returned from this method is in the same format as the value that is passed to map constructor.
Exactly. You can easily convert an object to map by passing the returned value from Object.entries to map constructor. Here, object obj is converted to map instance.
Can you explain the Object.values static method?
It returns an array of given objects' own enumerable string key property values, null, undefined, and other primitive values are handled similarly to the Object.entries method. Here, all the values of own enumerable string key properties of the object obj is returned.
Can you explain async functions?
Async functions allow asynchronous promise-based behavior to be written in a cleaner style. Here, the promise object returned from resolve after 2 seconds is not used directly. Instead, the await keyword is placed before the expression that gives a promise object. Await keyword fetches the resolved promise value. Async function return a promise by default instead of undefined as returned by normal functions. And that promise is resolved by the return value of the function or rejected by the error if the error is uncaught by the async function.
How to handle promise rejection?
Using try catch block. Here, as the promise is rejected, the catch block will be executed.
Will async functions get executed asynchronously?
The top level code up to and including the first await expression if any is executed synchronously. The other statements executed asynchronously. An async function without await expression is executed synchronously, but its return value will be a promise anyway. Here, the async function is executed synchronously up to await expression. 1 gets printed first, 2 is printed next, then 3 is printed and 4 is printed in the next tick.
Promise object can be chained with multiple .then handlers. How to achieve the same using async await?
The statements after each await expression can be thought of as existing in a .then handler. Here, instead of using .then handlers with the promise returned from fetch, await expressions are used.
Can I use await before non-promise objects?
Yes, if it is a non-thenable object, then the expression's own value is returned. Here, await is used before primitive value 1. The value 1 is returned by await.
Can I pass any thenable object to await?
Yes, here the object with property then that refers to a function that takes two parameters, resolve and reject function is passed to await. Whatever the value passed to resolve method is the resolved value returned by await. Or when the then function calls the reject function with an error, then that error is thrown by await.
Can you explain the trailing commas feature?
Trailing commas can be used in array literals, object literals, parameter definitions, function calls, named imports, named exports, dynamic imports, array and object destructuring. Only when it is used in array literals, it will alter the behavior by increasing the length of the array. In other scenarios, it does not alter the behavior. It has one limitation. Trailing commas cannot be used after the rest parameter in function definition and array or object destructuring. Here are the examples for each scenario.
Thanks JavaScript for explaining ES 2017 features. We will meet again for ES 2018 features discussion.
Sure, thanks, bye.
Bye. Thanks. If you find this video valuable, you may share it with others. If there are mistakes, please mention them in the comment section.